Welcome to Outlaw Woodworking. You know, one of my favorite things when I'm not working in a wood shop or working on my little house that I'm building is fishing. And every time, whenever I come back from fishing, I've got all these rods right here that are on top of my boat or in the cabinet of my boat. And what I like to do is I like to pull them all out, restring the lures or restring the whole rods. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pull them off the boat, I'll lean them up against a wall, and then proceed to restring them. But what I want to do is I want to build a nice rack so every time I come back from fishing, I can basically grab all the rods out of my boat, put them on the rack, and then go through and change the lures, restring them, retie the leaders, and yeah, that's what I want to do. So today we are going to build this. And this is the second generation. The first one didn't work, and I'll show you the failure. But this is the one that turned out really good. And we designed and built this on our CNC machine. And basically, if you like it and you want this file, just email me and I'll send it to you for free. Anyway, yeah, let's get off the lake, get into the wood shop, and let's get started. Okay, right off the bat, you can see my design, and it's basically 9 pieces, 2 different tool paths. You have a pocketing tool path and you have a profile tool path. And like I said, I'm using one bit to cut all these. And this is the up-down 2102 down cuts, or up-down cut spiral bit, compression bit by Whiteside. And you can see those are the little pockets in the side pieces, and then you can see the profile cut. So it's just two tool paths, and basically away we go. So here I'll preview the tool path here. See if I have to reset this. Preview it. We'll get rid of the scrap, and there's your pieces right there. So this is super simple. We're going to take this over to the CNC machine. I have an Avid 4x8 CNC machine. And let's take it over there and cut. Right here, the first thing I do, I always do the pockets first. And right here it's cutting. And this is real-time speed, so sometimes I'll fast forward it, but it's too slow. But I decided to just go ahead and run this regular speed, just so you can see how fast this bit cuts and how perfect. So if you look at those pockets, there's no tear out on the edges. And that's what I really like about this bit. I'm not sponsored by Whiteside or anything, but it is a really good bit. And yeah, it's cutting the pockets in both of the side pieces right now. And it basically does a 1/2 inch deep, 3/4 inch wide pocket. And there's not too, I mean, what is it? I guess there's 9 pockets. 2, 4, 5, no, maybe 5. 5 pockets in each side. Yeah, that's wrong, I'm sorry. There's seven pockets. 9 pieces of material to make this fishing rod and rack. And there's 7 actual pockets. So it's already done with the pockets. And right off the bat, here goes now watch how quick, that's cutting through 3/4 of an inch straight through one pass. And both the top and the bottom of this material is perfect. No tear out at all. It's actually, I'm amazed by it. I know a lot of guys with a lot more experience, probably this is no big deal, but for me, I was really surprised that this could just do that. Right there, those top piece of, there's one of the side pieces already cut out. And up there is the two pieces that are going to go on the bottom of the cart that'll hold the wheels. So those 2 pieces aren't going in any notches. They're going to be, I'm going to glue them and pocket screw them on the bottom of the cart and on the bottom of the fish rod holder. And I'll make quick time of those. Yeah, it's pretty. There goes the other second side. That's real speed. I mean, can you imagine if you're like we're getting ready to cut out a whole bunch of cabinets for this little house. We got cabinets for the kitchen, cabinets for the office, cabinets for the bedroom. You know, once you have it dialed in as far as your what you're going to cut out and make sure you're not making any mistakes and everything, you can have your programs ready to go and just work these out. I especially like how, look at the little half circles. It doesn't slow down at all. It just motors right through there to cut those half circles. It's yeah. I can't say enough about the Avid CNC too. I've had actually really good luck with it. I haven't had, the only problems I've ever had were you know, programmer error where I didn't program it right, and that's happened quite a few times. But the more I use it, the better I get at it, and the more the more you learn to check, you know, go through your checklist, make sure, you know, review your tool paths. Most of my mistakes are, you know, I forget to do the right depth of the tool path, or, you know, there'll be stupid things that I do myself. The CNC is just going to do what you tell it to do. And once you get a little bit good at it, it really makes fun of, you know, it makes it fun to make projects. Right there is the other side of the fish rod holder. And then it's got one more piece, which is the top double-sided holder with the half circles on both sides. Yeah, this really was a fun project. Even though I did fail on one of them, and I'll show you the failure, but other than the failure, it really came out good. Okay, we'll get over to the assembly and let's get this thing put together. The first thing I do is get my little handheld router, and I router all the edges. I'm using a little quarter round feud bit, and once I get all of them routed and they're all smooth, it's time to put it together. And I'm basically going to glue and screw it together. You don't really need to screw it together. If you have enough clamps, you could just clamp this thing together and it would be plenty strong. But I go ahead and I put some glue in the pockets, and I get all the pieces set up and basically get this thing glued together. It was a little awkward gluing two sides at the same time. I tried using some blue tape just to kind of hold them in position until I got the other side piece on. But all in all, it worked out good. And if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't screw it. I would just glue it and clamp it. I think it would turn out a lot cleaner not having the screws on the outside. But they don't look bad. You can't, I mean, it's just a little preference. I'm a little picky, and I think doing it without screws would have been nicer. In the end, I'll probably put stickers on the outside where the screws are eventually anyway. But yeah, it turned out really, I was really happy with it. All the pieces came together really well, and it ended up holding the rods really nicely, which is, you know, basically what I've designed it for. And I wanted to be able to set the rods in there without any straps or anything and have them stay straight up and down. And it ended up working really well. Here's where I put the screws in. And like I said, you don't really need to do that. After I get the last of the screws in on the other side, so both sides have screws in, I then proceed to get this thing flipped over and put the wheels on it. And right there you can see I've got those two last pieces glued and screwed on the bottom. I'm using pocket screws on the top of that. And then I found these wheels at Home Depot that looked pretty good. So I have two fixed wheels on one side and then two spinning wheels on the other side. And it allows it to roll around really nice. Originally I was actually going to bolt these wheels on, but I decided just to use some small screws to screw it on. And it turned out, it worked really well. Once I get all the wheels done, it was time to flip it over and see how it rolled around. And it actually worked beautifully. It was really nice and smooth. The next thing was to go ahead and shellac it. And like I said, the shellac was probably the hardest part about this whole project. But it turned out nice, and I'm happy with it. Okay, so I told you I would show you a failure, and this was my first one. And although I'm going to try to salvage it, you could basically you could put your rods in there and put a rubber band around there, but that's not the way I originally wanted it. And not only that, a couple of the dimensions came out wrong in the beginning. It looks real nice, but it's not what I had originally designed. So, you know, this was the first prototype. It didn't quite work, but it kind of taught me what I learned on the one that worked. So let me go show you the one that's the final product. And actually, I would say the worst thing about building it was painting it. That shellac, it dries really quick, and if you don't get all the runs, if you don't make sure the runs are out, it'll dry as a run, and then you got to sand it out. But anyway, yeah, it's on the wheels. I haven't put the rods in yet, so let's go over there and put the rods in, and I'll show you how it works. Wow, I'm really stoked to have made this. It was super fun to make. The cost of it cost about $140. The 3/4 inch plywood. It's a 13 ply plywood. It's a little nicer plywood. And then the wheels were about $30, $35 for about $140 with everything to build this. And it really, I mean, I'm super stoked the way the rods, you can just pop them in and out. There's no latches, and they hold really nice. And they don't go, like you could really move it around and not be too worried about it. Yeah, right here. So I got all my bait casters on the front, and then I put my spinners on the back. But both the back and the front are the same, and they seem to hold really well. Anyway, yeah, this turned out really nice. I'm super stoked on it. And it looks like I got room for 4, 5 more rods, which that probably won't make my wife happy, but it'll make me happy. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you next time. Later.
There he goes, it's a working man. He's trying to make a living.